Welcome back, friends. It's good to see you here again. All the usual suspects. Hey, Rose, good to see you, my friend. Ted Summer and Ceiling Fan Man. I didn't get your text until much. I guess I lose my phone on the weekends. Can you tell? It's great to have you guys back with us this evening. Probably another little short one tonight. Let's see. Let's see here. Oh, he is here. Welcome, Wayne. I didn't know for sure if Wayne was coming or not, so I didn't know if it was going to be a full episode or not. Well, this is good. I will just call up Mr. McCroy and see what he has going on. Give me just a second here. And let's see, Mr. McCroy. This is awesome. You can tell how we are here on the weekends. Hey, Dr. Pardon me? This thing is on. Hey, it's a pleasure to have you here, my friend. I wasn't 100% sure that this was our on week, and I had prepared for it not to be, but I'm glad it is. Welcome.
Oh, yes, it's our on week, and I'm very prepared.
Outstanding. You're very prepared. Well, that makes one of us. Let's see. YouTube not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming.
Uh-oh.
What is up with that?
I don't know, but I'm getting an echo through my end here, too.
Are you as well? Interesting. Let's take a look here. I should be showing high quality flow. I see. Yeah. Tens of thousands of frames per second. So it should. Okay. Now it says it's back in business. I don't know. I think that's maybe a YouTube ingestion thing. I'm not sure. But hey, welcome, Wayne. All right. So you said you had, you're prepared. So what did you have on board? I had just a couple of things that were pretty, yeah. Anyway, so what do you got?
This is a very professional production folks.
It is. Absolutely. Play by the seat of my pants to start with and often run out of space. I'm like, I don't even know where I'm going. And then I just had a very loose thing for tonight. And then it turns up. I was like, hey, are you on tonight? I was looking back through my episode list, and I was like, I think this is his 0.0 episode. So I'm so delighted that you're here. And you're bringing stuff. You brought cake.
I just want to open up tonight with a little...
Good, because I have some too. Woohoo!
Uh-oh.
It's actually real Scriptura,
I think I'm having a little bit of lag trouble here.
Oh, dear. If you want to try it again, you want to just drop the connection and try again?
Yeah, let's drop the call and give me a call back, because it seems like we're stepping on each other here, and I'm getting some lag, and the sound keeps cutting out.
It's a deal. I'll call you right back.
Okay.
All right. So we'll try to work with Mr. McCroy there, see what happens. It's always interesting because we got this high-tech stuff going on here.
Take two.
All right. Is that better for you? I'm still getting occasional notices from our friends at YouTube that it's experiencing not enough video. It's weird because I'm not really sending it much in the way of video anyway. So we'll see what happens.
No, that is strange.
All right.
Are you getting my sound okay now? Because now you sound 100% better too. You're not chopping in and out.
Oh, good. Well, you're perfect to have been the whole time. So outstanding. Okay, good. So you had some scripture for this evening, and I did as well. So let's see if they. What are the chances it's going to be the same one?
I don't know, but I just want to open it up because I see, by and large, a lot of people in our community out there are getting a little bit discouraged by some of the things they're seeing going on around them right now in society, and it wears on you. And I understand that. It wears on me, too. There's days that I just feel like beat down, and you got to remember that, the good Lord has our best intent in mind here. So he's got nothing but the best in store for us. And we just have to be mindful of that and keep that in mind as we continue on through the challenges that we're facing currently. So I just wanted to give people a little bit of uplifting scripture here just to start things off, because it gets very difficult at times when we're walking around and we feel beat down and defeated, and we feel like there's so much darkness going on around us, and that these clowns in charge of things are winning and getting their way. But just wanted to open it up with Psalm chapter 2 right here.
Okay.
Why do the heathen rage? Imagine a vain thing. The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together, saying, let us break their bands asunder, away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. So I just wanted to give people that little scripture. Remember, all of this nonsense that the powers that be that shouldn't be are pulling off right now, it's a very temporary thing. And the Lord is just sitting up there laughing at them like they're Pinky in the Brain or something, trying to take over the world.
Right.
So I just want to give people that hope and that little sense of how things really are. Even though it appears around us that they're getting their way and they're winning, and their plans, their devious plans, are proceeding forward exactly how they have them in mind. Keep in mind, the Lord is still in control, and this is not going to stand. And it's all based on fabricated things. So that's the whole thing. It's all an illusion, and we have to be able to dispel that illusion and do that for as many people as we come in contact with. We have to try to make them see through the fraud that this whole thing is. And if we could do that, the Lord's going to have his way with these people that really want to have their way with us. So we just need to move forward, with this hope that we can come to a better place through all of this. And I really firmly think we can do so. I hope we could do so anyway. But at any rate, there's always that hope. You could always hang on to that little bit of scripture and know God's in control. And there's nothing happening in the world right now that God can't fix, and that we working together as, sovereign human beings can't fix. But the thing is, it's just getting people to wake up from their complacency and their slumber and actually step up and start to take action to correct some of these injustices that have been going on in the world around us. We have to stand up to these people that set themselves in these positions against God and his anointed. These ones that are trying to pull all this nonsense off. We have to stand up against that and let them know, hey, you know what? We outnumber you guys a whole lot. So we're not going to let this stand anymore, and we're just not going to let you get away with all this nonsense. So if we could do that, I do sincerely believe we could turn this thing around and have a better world.
So what would that look like for you? I know that everybody has their own way of approaching this, right? And this is a conversation, at least a portion of the conversation I had with Beth Martins during the Unintended Consequences episode yesterday about how to share some of these things with people that you're in relationship with. And let's face it, we're in relationship with really everyone that we live around with. Some of those relationships are coworkers, or even short relationships of people that we meet on the street. And, people, I used to always say this place would be great if it weren't for all the people, right? But it's true that we all have different ways of approaching it. And certainly what is going to be appropriate for some may not be for others. Not everybody is good or even needs to be, flat smacking or red pilling people, just kind of walking up and saying, "Hey, did you know?" Right. So, what is, one of the things that, again, we know that is that everybody has a different purpose that they serve, and that's more comfortable for them. But what are some of the things that people could do in terms of helping those around them become aware of the I would say more than tenuous of the dangerous situation that we seem to be in. And again, I'm not big on fear porn or trying to, scare anybody, of course, but it is wise to look around us and see that if we, as you say, if we do nothing then we have really given them tacit permission to continue with what they're doing, that we're giving our approval. So what are some of the ways, do you think, Wayne, that we could get our voice heard?
Well, I think one of the important things comes back to discretion. And, that is the better part of how you're going to make a positive effect on somebody with this. You have to know who you're talking to. You have to tailor what you say to the person you're talking to. And the only way to do that is through conversation, like, honestly, to get to know somebody. Like, if you just know somebody, like, as a passing acquaintance or something like that, you really don't know that person. So you don't know necessarily what are their interests, what are their beliefs, what kind of things do they do in their spare time, what kind of common ground do you have with them. And it's only through actually becoming friendly with people and talking to them on a regular basis that you get to know them a little better. And eventually, it's just been my experience that eventually what happens is the opportunity will present itself to you. As far as, where to interject with something. And usually I just do this in the form of a question, just to kind of not put the people off too much. Like something obvious, like, well, if the lockdown didn't work the first time, why are they going to plan on doing a second one? And then if it did work the first time, why are they wanting to do a second one?
Right.
Because obviously it didn't work the first time. So why would you do the same thing again? Is that not the definition of insanity?
Yeah, it didn't work. The same.
Right.
The same with where did the flu go? Well, people were wearing their masks and social distancing. Why are you having to wear masks and social distance? Because people, aren't doing that because we have the
Yep.
creep and crud. Here's one of the things that I'm hearing, right? I'm thinking this through and saying, so, as you say that sometimes, it does work well. To me, it seems to work better in context of relationship, right? That people are more likely to hear you, although sometimes they're more likely to hear it, from a different source than someone they know, which is a weird phenomenon. And some people do a really good job at, I don't know what you call it, street evangelism or whatever, just to randomly, talk to people. So I'm not sure that there's any one way in terms of the opportunity. As you said, look for opportunities that I think you feel comfortable in to interject, at times. I think one of the important parts is to know what you know, right? To be able to, in a moment, have a ready word. Right. And so when you get the opportunity, that you're comfortable and confident in sharing some of those things. Right. So and as you say, I do think questions work remarkably well because they get people to think. If you simply begin with you're doing it wrong, right, people will almost always defend their position at the outset. And so if you present them with the idea right at the outset that their position is mistaken, they're going to feel the need to defend it, and you'll waste a lot of time. So I do find it's usually best to take a position of caring, that you care about their situation, and again, give them an opportunity to sort of think it through. Again, for sure, not everybody is going to be willing to do that or comfortable with the results. And some people, frankly, seem incapable of actually walking it through with logic. And that is indication, not just that they're dumb. I mean, some people maybe are, right? But some people, it's a hypnosis. It does seem to me to be a type of, again, I don't know if you call it programming or, like neuro-linguistic programming, or something like that. But does seem to be a deep-seated programming, some kind of hypnosis that they're in, that they simply cannot wake up to it. Some people can, and that's the opportunities you're looking for, is those people who sort of have that, I don't know, the spark in their eyes, if you will.
Yeah, man, definitely. The thing we got to keep in mind, though, is it's not necessarily our job to wake somebody up or to, like, slap them upside the head with this. Our job is to put the information out there. We're just planting seeds. Now, you may not always see that seed develop right away. You might not see it at all. It might take somebody else coming along and some other situation for the light bulb to finally come on. And that's the best that we could hope for. But our job is to just kind of plant the seed. Do it subtly. You don't have to hit somebody over the head with it. And a lot of times, if they do finally get it or something, or the light bulb kicks on, they'll start asking you questions because if they realize you're the one that made them aware of um, this certain thing or whatever back then, they'll come to you with questions. I see that all the time in my daily life. Like, people know I do this podcasting thing, and I write books and stuff like that, and they know that I'm that quote unquote conspiracy guy or whatever. So anytime any kind of thing comes up, like in the news cycle, or there's something going on, or they see something on Facebook, who do you think they're going to ask questions? They come to me because they know that's my thing.
Come on, man.
So
They're going
yeah.
to Anderson Cooper.
No.
What, are you kidding me?
Yeah, go to Anderson Cooper. Yep.
No,
Man,
I do. I agree with
nothing
you.
shady there.
And I mean, from my perspective, and again, this is for me. This may not be, me telling somebody else how to do it, but I know for me, an effective tool is simply to live out who I am. Right. And so not just the information, but I try to comport myself in a way that is, I don't know if you want to say approachable, because I'm not, I'm not necessarily approachable. Like, hey, come talk to me. But I'm friendly, and I care about people, and so I'm not trying to pick a fight. I'm not trying to get in anybody's face. I'm not trying to, I'm here to make a statement or anything like that. I simply, I know what I know, and I'm comfortable with what and who I am. And that seems to be something that people are not used to. I don't know. I don't know how to put it. They don't quite know what to do with. They're used to people who want other people to either tell them what to do, or they're ready to fight, right, and kick and scream. I just don't do any of that stuff, right? So people are a little unused to it, but it does give me a lot of latitude in terms of, again, going places without a mask, or but that's not the only, I think for me, it's being unafraid, right? Whatever the circumstances are, I'm simply not afraid. And people tend to look toward those who, I guess it makes them feel a little bit more trustworthy or whatever, that somebody is not looking for somebody else to tell them what to do, right? I'm not that guy that's going to look around going, I don't know what to do. If something goes wrong, we just fix it. We just do the thing, and I'm not looking around for somebody else to tell me what to do. Right. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know. But to me, it seems that having an easily, trying to relate to people and genuinely caring about them when you talk to them is helpful. They tend to respond to that, in my experience, better than coming at them with, you're doing it wrong. Right. That doesn't seem to work very well in most circumstances.
People tend to try to avoid confrontations like that, or some people actually like that kind of confrontation, and they'll argue with you and go back at you with it.
Right.
So, and if they're strong and steadfast in their position, there's nothing you're going to say to them to change their mind. So that's a waste of your time and energy on something like that. But I mean, it definitely helps. Just be yourself. I mean, that's all you can be when it comes down to it at the end of the day. And if you genuinely care about people, which you do, and I care about people too, it comes through. Like they could sense whether or not you're being genuine or upfront with them about things. Like, they know if you have an ulterior motive. You could sense that about people.
So we can.
The thing is, if you're genuine with them and you genuinely care, that comes through in the conversation.
It does, but you say you can tell that about people. I wonder sometimes whether people can, because I look at somebody like, faux cheese, and I wouldn't trust that guy with anything.
Well, I mean, that comes down to discernment once again, but most of the time you can tell if somebody's just looking to.
You look at Gavin Newsom, he's a slime ball, right? You look at any of these guys, Rudy Giuliani, right? I mean, these people are scum. And again, I'm not big on calling names or judging people, but I'm just saying, if you can't tell from 1,000 feet that these people are just gross, how do you not see that? How do you not see that people again, it's not my thing on bagging on people, because for me it's never really about the person, it's about their behavior. But some people are defined by their behavior, like Cardi B. Come on, man. How has anybody idolized that? It's the lowest minded, filthiest piece of just gross. It's just gross. And I don't know why people are drawn to that. That's, I think, part of humanity that really has been bothering me lately, Wayne, is this sense that there's the lack of a moral compass at all, or any kind of discernment, and they just not only follow the wrong people, but willingly, like they love the government, man. They love the media. It's I'm just shocked. I can't even imagine that they're fighting for this. It's kind of the ultimate Stockholm syndrome, I guess. But
I understand your frustration with that, and I get that too. And I have these same questions. I don't understand how anybody could look at these people and like you said, idolize somebody like that. Like it's disgusting, and it's a lot of it falls back to the whole moral relativism argument when it comes down to it. It depends. I mean, what's important to one person is not important to another person, and therefore this person relativizes something as being more important to them, something like maybe wealth or fame or something like that, and decides that, they idolize this person because this person achieved all that, and that's kind of what they want to be or what they want to accomplish. And they picture things differently in their head than how they really are in actuality. Like they think money and wealth and fame and everything would solve all their problems and issues, and they would have this great life. But here's the key with money that people need to understand. Okay, a poor person, when they lay their head on the pillow at night and go to sleep, they're not worried about their bank account because they don't have anything in it. A rich man, when he goes to bed, he does not sleep so well because he's constantly worried about, this investment or that investment or this bank account or this money or this aspect of whatever their business they're running or this or that. So there's a lot of more problems that come with more wealth. And that's not something that necessarily people think of when they look at something like wealth as something to idolize or want. But like I said, that's neither here nor there. But that's just an example of how moral relativism has crept into the picture and usurped the place of natural morals or natural law. What morality should be, the codes of conduct that were given through different religious structures and, through the natural order that have come from nature and from God, and replaced it with other things created by man, which we place more of a tab of importance on.
And
so it's one of those things where that's the whole bottom line. Some people, their moral compass is not directed where it should be.
Well, there you go.
It's directed on man-made things.
Well, there you go, Wayne. So, I mean, in an intellectual level, I agree with everything you said. Those are all absolutely, true. In individual spot check, situations, right? It's this overall, I think this is the part that I struggle with, right? So you get into, I don't know, dynamically complex moral situations, right? And you begin to think about, okay, and it's a slippery slope. And, I've read a number of books, again, on the psychology of this and mistakes, you ultimately end up with, mistakes were made, but not by me, right? and that's kind of how relativism works. And it's always a slippery slope, right? And people usually begin with good intentions, mostly, but they begin doing what we would say are clearly morally questionable things for reasons that they still justify as being good, whatever the behavior, and in individual circumstances this can happen, right? But this is where we start to look, and is it so? This is why, for example, I can take a look at the militarized police state, and I'm so not a big fan of that. But I can say that I don't hate cops. I don't hate the people who wear the uniform. Now, some of them again are really gross, but it's not the person. It's the behavior, right? And those are behaviors, and certainly an institution that I have a big problem with. It's clearly problematic. But without getting too deep into that, right? I can separate the person from the behavior. Here we have a situation, and this is what I guess I'm getting to, is that it's expanded to a situation where it is not individual acts. It is people that do seem to have, again, for lack of a better word, that we've talked about people who have no inner dialogue, right? They have no monologue inside, and so they're entirely reactionary. And is this the meme of the NPC? Is that really a thing? I mean, because when I first saw it, I thought it was just a kind of a joke, right? It's the NPC meme of the people who are so programmed they just regurgitate whatever comes at them, and that certainly seems to be true. But there are days, my friend, when I go, I don't know that there's anybody home in there, right? And the more I read and the more I see that, are there potentially soulless people out there? Is that possible? There are. I would have to say I'm not sure. I've met one I know in my life, being something of an empath. I know that I have met people that seem to blank to me. But they almost always, those people, there was something covering it up. And so it was sort of like, another entity covered it over. And so that person wasn't there anymore, would be the best way. And so, I don't like hanging out with people like that. So I'll spend a lot of time there. But people who are just not there. And I got to say, I don't spend as much, I don't like look real too deep because things have changed in the world, and so everybody's behind a mask and whatnot. So I'm not really poking around, but this idea is beginning to bug me. Whether or not you've got people out there who literally are cannon fodder. What the Scripture says is that those who are created for destruction. Man, I don't know. I just can't see how people can behave this way in an entirely. Again, it's as if they do not have a soul. I don't even know what to make of it.
I've often had, some ponderings about that whole NPC type of an idea as well. It makes you wonder.
Tell me
it
what
truly
you think,
does.
man. Because I'm putting it out there. I don't know, right? I don't know what to make of it. There seems to be evidence that there are people that may not be. And again, even scriptural evidence that says that some were made for destruction, right? And basically, they're cannon fodder. Like they just got, I don't know whether that is by genetic reconstruction from the enemy that mess things up like that, or what. I don't know what quite to make of it, but
I don't know. The way I see it is, there are things that the power structure that's in charge here in the world today, there's things that they do that kind of retards the growth of the souls and spirits. And I think that plays a key role in what you're saying here. And I think that is part and parcel of what's going on with this whole NPC phenomena.
Yeah, I see it all day
I think
long,
that's what it is. I see it all the time, too. It's like, the spirit is there, but it's like it's just on autopilot and there's no one home. And is that the result of, the things put in place by this power structure to retard the growth of spiritual growth, like that retards
awakening,
the spiritual growth in these people?
Yeah.
I can't come up with the right word to really convey the sense of what I get from it. Sometimes I struggle in finding the words to describe the things that I see going on.
Sort of like spiritually petrified, if you will, right? Like we would say
it's like the spirit is frozen in place there, and there's something else, operating the system in front of it, holding it back, kind of keeping the spirit captive there.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of what it seems like, vampirizing the spirit, some other spirit vampirizing that spirit. And it's something akin to an artificial intelligence type thing running the show. It's like on autopilot. That's the best way I could describe it. And I don't know if that's necessarily right, but that's what my thoughts on the situation are, because I've explored that avenue of thought and looked at it. And at first, I was on the same page like you were when you said in the beginning. I saw the whole NPC meme and I thought, oh, that's funny, that's cute. And if you've ever played like Dungeons and Dragons or something, you understand the concept. Or even video games, the NPC, the non-player character, they're just there as kind of like filler and background.
Yeah.
And I didn't think much more of it in the beginning,
wallpaper.
but as time went on,
yeah.
As time went on, and you see things going on in society around you, and you look around and you see the people just blindly following the marching orders and everything, and they just walk around like zombies. This is the zombie apocalypse they were preparing us for, folks. It's real. It's going on.
It seems
it doesn't
like
look exactly like they described, but it's just about there.
Yeah, it seems like it. It's pretty remarkable. Again, I thought it was kind of a joke, and we were just kind of mocking those that, especially those on the far left who just seem to be regurgitating this narrative, right? And whatever they're told, and it's like exactly the. Exactly. In fact, I was having this conversation with my wife today that we can look at people, and I mean, and this is a statement about, again, I go back to people don't have ideas, ideas have people, right? Is that you can look at somebody and know exactly how they voted, yeah, right? and you know exactly the way they're going to answer any question that you ask of them. And in part, again, this is because it's become a cult, right? When you kind of join the cult, you have to answer the questions the way that you're told. And so you know that they're not going to have any dissenting views, any individual views on this stuff, which is, again, that's what I thought the NPC sort of originally was. But there are some that I have seen. I don't even know, again, with that, what's going on underneath that, because
you don't know what's going on under the hood.
Under the hood,
for sure.
exactly.
But yeah, that's and I could relate to that. The only thing I could say as far as that goes is just do your best to try to reach these people with some kind of a positive message of sorts. And if it takes, it takes, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. It's not our responsibility to sort out who wakes up and who doesn't. See, that's the thing. All we could do is plant the seed.
It's not. Okay. So it's true that it's not our responsibility, right, for what they do. There are some, and this is kind of where I go back to. For each person, it's given to have a little bit different purpose, right? So for some, it is to be a helper, right? For some, it is to support others. For some, it is to do a podcast or whatever. I mean, to me, I think everybody is kind of given a different role to play, and certainly we would see this insofar as for some, it is some people are called to try to tell others, right? You got this Ezekiel 33 thing, right, which says, if you're a watchman on the wall and you see danger coming, if you do not tell others of the approaching danger and they perish, their blood is on your hands. However, if you ring the alarm and they do nothing, right, your hands are clean and you did your part. So there is kind of, but it also specifies if your job is as the watchman on the wall. Not everybody has that job, right? So there is some, again, some discernment that's required there. But this is where I would always come back to, and this is sort of my point of being, go ask Dad, right? If anybody lacks wisdom, let him ask, and you can go ask Dad, what am I supposed to do here? But I do think these aspects of having a ready word, right? That you're always, what you know, and you know it because you know it. It's not just an idea, and you didn't just pick it up from somebody else. I do see, sadly, still a number of people in the truth community who seem to have just rejected one narrative for another, right? They simply, they don't really know it. They don't, it's not in them, I guess. They just took another narrative. They just kind of rejected one and picked up another one. So, it's I would always say, again, know for yourself what those things are, and be ready with that word when somebody does ask. And look, as Wayne says, look for opportunities to present themselves, to be ready with that, and then be yourself, right? Be who you were meant to be. Those are, in some ways, the most difficult propositions ever, right? That's what Jesus said. Here are the commandments, right? Love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind. Love your neighbor as yourself. You do those things, you're gonna be just fine.
That's right.
You're
Everything
doing great,
else falls
kid.
in place.
Yep, exactly. And so I do think these opportunities will present themselves in exactly the way they're supposed to be. And chances are you won't walk away with a big W, right? You get another notch on your flat Earth belt buckle, right? I don't think it works that way. But as Wayne says, it's a matter of spreading seed, and a ready word at the right time, and can add up. And finally, again, if you ask those questions, and I think that's what gets in people's head, is if you ask them a question, they'll start asking themselves those questions. Why can I see too far? Why would they put us in lockdown? Right? When you start asking these questions, there's a better opportunity for them to think through it and to use some discernment and maybe even ask for guidance.
Absolutely. And I think that's the important thing, is sometimes it just has to be in the small thing first, like ask the small question first. It's a process. And that's what a lot of us forget, is we've gone through this process, many of us, like, this truth-seeking process where you're looking for these answers. But it all started with a single question, didn't it? And for a lot of people, the question is different. It's something you may experience in your own personal life, or it's something that may happen on a grand scale, like something like the events of 9/11. Uh, it might make you actually question things, like when you actually look at it and something doesn't quite make sense. And a lot of times you just get this gut feeling something's not quite right about this. And that's the best time to start asking questions about something. If you see something and it doesn't look quite right to you, then start investigating, because there's something out of place. You could always trust that gut feeling. That's a natural thing. I mean, the gut biome is actually like your second brain. People, that need to understand this. This is actually something that's been proven in biology and stuff like that. Your gut is your second brain. That gut feeling is a real thing. That's not just like an old wives' tale.
Totally is.
There's something to that. What was that?
Oh, I said it totally is. It's called the belly brain. There are more neuroreceptors going from the thorax to the brain than there are from the brain to the rest of the body. so there's that.
And that's why gut health is linked to mental health in a lot of different ways too. And that's
enormously important.
An avenue of science that hasn't been thoroughly pursued enough in the modern day. But there's definitely something to it.
Yeah.
And proof positive of this is the whole case of autism. There's definitely a link with the gut with that.
Yep.
So, and that's kind of how the whole controversy with it all started with the vaccines, because Dr. Wakefield, he was actually looking at the gut biome and something to do with the gut. And that's kind of how he got on track with this whole thing with the link with autism. So there's a definite link there.
Yeah.
And that's what started the whole controversy with the autism vaccine thing. So, nobody ever bothered to explore that out much further. Now, I know there are some that have done studies and stuff here and there, and I've looked at some of them, but they haven't really done anything to try and figure out what exactly is the correlation there, because there is a correlation. They just look at it and they claim there's no correlation.
Yeah, right.
And that's kind of where they left it. But I could tell you, as the parent of autistic children, they definitely have gut health issues that go along with it.
And my wife
there's no denying it.
Wife is on the autism spectrum, and that's one of her biggest struggles, is the gut health. Yep, absolutely. They definitely go hand in hand, without question.
Yeah. And that, I think, has to do with that whole system too. But I think we got a little off topic anyway.
Doesn't matter to me. I mean, this is for me, the topic really is about trying to be in the world and not of it, right? And how do we relate to what's going on around us and keep that relationship with Dad growing? And one of the biggest issues that again covered this weekend was the issue of relationships. I think it's enormously important how we manage these relationships with others, and for many of those in our community, that relationship has been disrupted by a download of new information that changes your worldview, and that's going to again change your priorities. It changes the way you see things. It changes your moral compass. It changes everything, and that disruption, I mean, that leads to this imbalance, if you will, in relationships, in all of them. And so finding an equilibrium and equanimity in those relationships, again, is enormously important, and one that, if done poorly, can lead you to be very alone, and poorly, not necessarily your fault, but other people, if they're not comfortable in changing roles in relationship, there's going to be problems, right? Every time I've ever seen growth of anybody, and again, for the positive, that is it creates relationship issues. It's just the nature of things. It's the relationships are organic, and when you again, just like changing the gut health, right? When you change part of it, it changes the whole thing, and so there has to find a new sense of equilibrium. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. So, it's enormously important, and it seems to me that one of the biggest things about relationship with Dad is relationship with others, and that's enormously. That's kind of how you live it out, right? You have your relationship with Dad, and he tells you how to not be an asshole. I mean, am I right here? Isn't that kind of, Wayne, how it works? Is he shows you how to be a better person?
Yeah, I would say so. It's it's one of those things. I definitely agree with you there. It is. The Lord shows you how to be a better person, and you want to just keep pursuing that avenue because, honestly, um, all we have at the end of it all is our relationships with others. That's all we leave behind
That's
when
it.
we leave this world behind is the relationship that we had with others, how we made other people feel. That's all that's important, and that's all that will remain of our legacy when we're gone. So it's important that we actually take the time to pursue uh, having better relationships with people. So it's something we need to be mindful of at all times, and that's the most important thing at the end of the day is relationship, and it's the same thing with God. It's not about how religious you are, how well you kept the commandments or anything. It's your relationship with God. That's everything.
Yeah,
When it comes down to it at the end, it's relationship.
it
It's
is.
how you carry yourself with other people, and with among your friends and your loved ones and your spouse and your children, everybody.
Yeah,
It's all that relationship. It's all based on relationship, and
yeah.
the only thing people will truly be able to leave behind this world when they leave is those relationships they've had with others.
Absolutely. And I can tell you this for certain. I mean, there are very few things that I know with certainty, but this would probably be one of them, I guess. Is on that day when you stand before your Creator, no amount of information is not going to be, you're going to pass a test and take it, no amount of information that you know is going to be what gets you through the gates, right? What is going to matter is, are you guys friends? Do you love each other? Right? That's important. That's the important part. Jesus himself said that not everyone who cries, "Lord, Lord," will enter the kingdom. Right? And people will say, "Oh, but I knew all this stuff and I kept all these rules." He's like, "No, I never knew you. Right? We didn't know each other." That is the most important thing, right? Is that relationship. And I'll say over and over again, it is not right living that leads you into relationship, but rather right relationship that leads you into right living. So it's all about your relationship with Dad. Do that. Church and religion doesn't matter. That stuff is likely to get in your way. It's not necessarily bad like many things. I mean, there are parts of it that can be, but I don't know. Just like anything else, music or sports or whatever, is it bad? No, it's on its own. It can be fine. Again, I loved Flattoberfest, meeting with a bunch of like-minded people. Imagine doing that every week. That'd be awesome. Right? It'd be awesome. But that's not what most of Western church has turned into. And so it can be a hindrance to your relationship. So anyway, there you got new phone. Who dis? Great call, Billington. Yeah, it's like that. Yeah, this is to me the most important aspect, is the relationships, right? And that's the exact directions that J. Bro gave us, right? Love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. And that means you need to learn to love yourself. These are very difficult propositions, by the way. So not
Yeah, man, that's probably the hardest one
right. So
is learning to love yourself and accept yourself and your faults and like everything, and be able to see past that and know that the Creator put you here for a reason, and it's in your best interest to try to pursue whatever that reason is. And not everybody has the same job here. We've had that discussion
yeah,
before.
yeah.
It's just seek out what the Lord wants for you, and pursue after that. And I guarantee you, it's not going to disappoint. God never disappoints when it comes down to it. If you do your due diligence and seek what He puts before you to do, you're never going to find yourself wanting.
Oh no,
So
no. My experience is it's always so way much better than you could even imagine. Like you were like, oh, what was I thinking? Of course, of course I did. I wanted this. Yes, Dad is really really cool in all that he provides and gives. And he knows you way, way, way better than you know yourself, and what will please you, what will make you happy, and what's good for you, right? And so I have learned that anything he keeps from me, it's not because he doesn't want me to be happy. It's because what he's got for me is way better than
absolutely,
that dumb
and
shit I was
that's
trying to figure out, right?
yeah, and that's something a lot of us struggle with is well, why? That's the question we have. Why this and why that? Why would God not do this for me? And why that? Why did this happen to me?
I wanted
All these
that.
things.
Yeah.
We have all these questions, but if you just stay faithful and true, and hold to God's promises, and seek that relationship, and just sincerely seek after Him and what avenue He has in store for you, you will eventually come to find out that He had something better in store than what you had even imagined. So that's the way we have to go, and we just have to, keep the faith in these things. And everybody goes through challenges and tough times, and sometimes we need that challenge or that hardship. That's part of our reason for being here. This is a training ground when it comes down to it. This earth, this place we live, we're here basically to, it's the school of hard knocks. That's what it is, and that's what we need.
Well, opposition certainly does create, a sense of inner strength that you have to have the temerity to go through it. V. Thomas was asking in chat about if love thy neighbor, what about those wearing the mask? Hate them? No, no. They may hate us, but we are told to love those that persecute us and do good to those who despitefully use us. I may hate what they do, but I don't hate anybody, and I don't think hating anybody's. Well, again, if love is not the motive, Dad's not involved, right? So that's my take on things.
Right, and that's the other thing. You have to keep in mind that these people, for whatever reason, they legitimately and sincerely believe that wearing the mask is the right thing to do, because they're just so caught up in the nonsense of it all, and they trust the experts, trust the science, because that's the other major thing going on in our world today. The religion of scientism has taken over in so many ways, and people will just trust the science. They trust in their science, their quote-unquote science, more than they trust in the creator of the universe. Well, and that's a problem.
Yeah, and they've been, trained to. They've been trained to not trust themselves. You're not very smart, but this guy is. The guy in the white jacket, he's smart, and he's going to tell you, and if you're on his side, then he's going to be right, and so you'll be right. Just say science. It's sciencey. Science. And then you'll win. No, it doesn't work like that. But again, it does make it an enormous difference what happens inside you, and your thought process. Keep in mind that belly brain we were talking about, right? Those neurotransmitters, those both receive and send. So much of it is tuned again to the vibe, if you will, the electromagnetic spectra around you, and that extends a field that extends about 3 feet in each direction. Oh my, 6 feet! Wow, interesting. But it both sends and receives, so it puts out your vibe, and you pick up the vibe from other people. So when you get a gut feeling, you really do. Right? Get that gut feeling. So you should be using that to sense the world around you. Use every bit of discernment that you have available to sense the world around you. But again, if you whatever happens in your heart, that's going to spill over, and it's going to go around you. And so people will know, or at least many will sense, right, what your intentions are. And I think we should be able to sense what other people's intentions are, whether they're good or bad toward us, and they will be able to sense whether our intentions are positive or negative toward them. And again, I think you, from what I've seen so far in what I study, is that literally is the way to change the world. Is that when you change your mindset, when you change your spirit, and your spirit is attuned with the source of power in creation, that you literally materially manifest and change in the world around you. That actually happens. So we got that going, which is nice.
Yeah, that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
Just to back up what you're saying, though, about that 3 foot radius around your body. Have you ever done this? Have you ever been standing somewhere and you don't hear or see anything, but you could sense somebody standing behind you, and you turn around and sure enough, there's somebody there.
Yeah.
That's the same kind of thing. Everything's electromagnetic at the end of the day. That's what it's all about. And we emit this field. Everybody has this electromagnetic field that's tuned to their body. And there's a lot of different philosophical directions we could go with this whole idea. But, for time constraints and stuff here today, we won't discuss it too much. But everything's electromagnetic. So everything that happens within your body is electromagnetic in nature. And everything that happens around you is all effects of this electromagnetic dynamo that is the world we live in. Like this is everything. It's all electromagnetic interaction.
Yep.
Everything.
Agreed.
So that's basically the fundamental of how we could kind of have this extra sense of things around us or whatever. So it's something we need to keep attuned to because it's a real thing, and there's real information being conveyed in that way. You could feel the quote unquote vibe of a person from this way. And you have to trust that. You just have to learn to trust that. It's an instinctive thing. And it's something that, the pseudo-intellectual society that we're in today is kind of discredited and tried to put off as not being a real thing. But it's definitely a real thing. So they've kind of tried to dumb us down in regards to what our instincts are. With a lot of these different ideas.
With the nature of the whole world, right? They have.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
165 years ago, more people had a better idea of what the world was than they do now, both in the scientific and academic community as well as just the general public. They have completely turned that upside down and called it science.
And that's one of the biggest pet peeves I have today is the things that they get away with calling science. Honestly, once you hit about, I'd say probably the early 19 teens or 1920s, everything from there on out just totally went into decline as far as scientific thought and reasoning goes. Even though we've made these great advancements in technology and stuff like that, our understanding of the science has plummeted drastically. People believe in, Einstein's theory, general relativity, and all of this stuff that there's absolutely zero evidence to really support when it comes down to it. It's all based on mathematical formulas. And okay, so this model we present, what we have doesn't fit unless we put this variable in. But if we put X, Y, and Z variables in, then all of a sudden we could make it work. Well, all they're doing is writing down theoretical stuff on a paper.
Yeah, exactly. It's shit that we made up to make it work. That's it doesn't exist.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's called dark matter. So
I think Einstein called it the cosmological constant initially, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then it's gone through different iterations, and now it's dark matter or dark energy.
Yeah.
And it accounts for like 98% of everything, which is nothing.
It's dark because they can't find it, right? They don't know what it is, and it's because it's nothing. It's just
there's no evidence
number.
This exists, but it must because our math says so.
Yeah, exactly. Because it has to. We're confident of it. Why? Well, because our math doesn't work without it, so it has to work.
Yeah, our model that we came up with doesn't work without it. So therefore, the math that we invented to make the model work has to be true.
It has to be true, of course.
So we'll have to find something like that. We'll have to find the God particle because it has to exist because our math said so.
And it's remarkable to me how, and they've been doing this since the early 1980s that I can recall, probably before. I just maybe didn't pay close attention. But they've been at least once a year, maybe 2 years, but usually once a year, there will be an article that comes out with some experiment that proved Einstein. Well, it proved. It's like, why are you so insistent on doing that? Well, because again, once you get anywhere into the maths of it, you understand that he just pulled stuff. It's rectal extractions. He pulled it right out of his butt, and it's just. I mean, the math is elegant. I'll tell you that. So for maths, it's an elegant mathematical series of equations, but the premise of it is hogwash. It's just the stupidest thing you ever heard. It's like, yes, I have a beautiful mathematical equation for why there are purple giraffes in your bathtub. Well, there's not purple giraffes in your bathtub.
Yes, there is. You just can't see them because they're dark purple giraffes.
Yeah, exactly. It's dark. It's dark matter. All the math says there should be purple giraffes in your bathtub. So, yeah. And that's basically what it's preposterous. But I've noticed again, yeah, they've done everything they can to keep pushing it. And I presume that this is for theoretical physics students who, as soon as they bump into it and go, hey, wait a minute, this is nonsense, then they'll back it up with, oh, haven't you seen the latest article that proves Einstein? So they just can't, again, shuts the mouth of people asking the right questions. This is what I saw all through my academic career, certainly, was when you ask the right questions, they will shut you right the fuck down. Right away.
They don't want you to go ruining their worldviews and models, do they?
No, you're just a dumb punk kid, right? So yeah, you can't. No, we've been doing this for a long time. So don't you don't ask us the questions. We're going to tell you, and that's the way. That's the name of that tune, right?
Yep. Sure.
Yep.
And here's my proof. I have this piece of paper that says I went to school for 8 years for this subject.
Yeah, I'm in debt.
There you go.
I'm $120,000 in debt. I can't be wrong.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
That's, I don't know. It just boggles the mind, man. It really does. How people could look at this with, any ounce of common sense and not walk away asking more questions about what they've been presented, and how it just boggles my mind what they get away with calling science anymore.
Yeah, it certainly is. All right, so we're coming up to the top of the hour, Wayne, and I think that's a interesting, again, conversations. The NPC thing is certainly a meme. I should look at a little bit more. I have, I'm going to throw I'm going to throw another psalm out there. It's probably not as encouraging as was yours, except in the sense that it's encouraging because it's one of those moments wherein our friend David was like, "Hey, what the hell?" And it's something that I know that many people have had in their heart of late, and kind of consistent with that. So before I get into that, is there anything that you want to add, Wayne?
No, I'm kind of curious to hear what which psalm you're pulling out here.
All right. Maybe we should have talked and done them in the other order. But one of the things you can find for sure about the Psalms is that when you find one that seems kind of like, oh, there's another one right after it that's like, woohoo, right? So I'm going to break out Psalm 88 because it well elucidates the situation that so many people find themselves in. And so I just would do this sort of as a prayer. And again, if this is representative of you and your situation, just kind of agree with me in this. We'll just again ask Dad to be part of this situation. Lord, the God of my salvation, I have cried day and night before you. Let my prayer enter into your presence. Turn your ear to my cry. For my soul is full of troubles. My life is drawing nearer and nearer to death. I am counted amongst those who go down to the pit. I'm like a man who has no help. Set apart amongst the dead, like the slain who die in the grave, who remember you no more. They are cut off from your hand. You've laid me in the lowest pit, in the darkest depths. Your wrath lies heavily upon me, and you've afflicted me with all your waves. You have taken my friends from me. You have made me an abomination to them. I'm confined and I can't escape. My eyes are dim from grief. I have called upon you daily, Lord, and I've spread out my hands to you. Would you show your wonders to the dead? Do departed spirits rise up and praise you? Is your loving kindness declared in the grave, or your faithfulness in destruction? Are your wonders made known in the dark, or your righteousness in the land of forgetfulness? But to you, Lord, I've cried. In the morning my prayer comes before you. Oh, Lord, why does it feel like you're rejecting me? Why do you hide your face from me? I'm afflicted and ready to die from my youth up. When I suffer your terrors, I'm distracted. Your fierce wrath has gone over me. Your terror has cut me off. They came around me like water all day long and completely engulfed me. and you have put lover and friend far from me, and my friends into darkness. But see, you don't have to stay there, and this is the best part, again, about Psalms or these other, is you can go to the very next one, Psalm 89, and it immediately begins, I will sing of the loving kindness of the Lord forever. With my mouth I will make you known your faithfulness to all generations, and I will indeed declare love stands firm forever. You established the heavens, your faithfulness is in them. I've made a covenant with my chosen one, and I've sworn to David my servant. I will establish your offspring forever, and build up your throne to all generations. The heavens will praise your wonders, Lord, your faithfulness, also in the assembly of the holy ones. For who in the skies can be compared to the Lord? Who amongst the sons of the heavenly beings is like God? A very awesome God in the council of the holy ones, to be feared above all those who are around him. Lord God of hosts, who is a mighty one like you? The Lord, your faithfulness is all around you. You rule the pride of the sea. When its waves rise up, you calm them. The heavens are yours. The earth is also yours. The world and its fullness, you have founded them. You created the north and the south. The whole world rejoices in your name. You have a mighty arm. Your hand is strong, and your right hand exalted. Righteousness and justice are the foundation of your throne. Loving kindness and truth go before your face. Blessed are the people who learn to acclaim you. They walk in the light of your presence, Lord. In your name they rejoice all day long. In your righteousness they are lifted up, for you are the glory of their strength. In your favor our lives will be exalted, and our shield belongs to the Lord, our Holy One, the King of Israel. And then you spoke in vision to your holy ones and said, I've given strength to the warrior, and I've exalted a young man from the people. I've found David, my servant, and I've anointed him with my holy oil, with whom my hand shall be established, and my arm will also strengthen him. No enemy will tax him, no wicked man will oppress him, and I will beat down his adversaries before him, and strike those who hate him. But my faithfulness and my loving kindness will be with him. In my name his horn will be exalted. I will set his hand also on the sea, and his right hand on the rivers. He will call to me, You are my Father, my God, and the rock of my salvation. And I will also appoint him my firstborn, the highest of the king of earth. And I will keep my loving kindness for him forevermore. My covenant will stand firm with him, and I will also make his offspring endure forever, and his throne as the days of heaven.
And right there, that just goes to show we all have good days, bad days. Even the wisest and best among us have good days and bad days.
Yep.
And a man needs to be broken before he could come to the realization that he needs salvation, that he needs this relationship with God. And oftentimes we have to hit rock bottom before we could actually see that that's the truth, that we can't make it on our own. We need to have this relationship
Yep.
with our God, and that's gives us strength to carry on. And even in the dark times, we could still have hope, because you could see just in how the Psalms are outlined here that Psalm 88 was kind of a very dark place, but the very next Psalm
Is not.
it's right, and that's kind of this crescendo, this rise and fall crescendo.
Yep.
And this is the thing. I mean, we got to remember that this is a place of testing. This earth that we walk upon is a place of testing for us, and we need to understand that we're going to go through hard times and hardships, and that stuff is intended to make us better people and give us better relationship and a closer walk with God. So
Well, I've heard
if we
it.
could follow through with that, we will see joyous times as well. And once again, this harkens back to the book of Ecclesiastes. For everything there is a season, and everything is beautiful in its time. So it's one of those things. We're going to go through rough times and dark times, and sometimes those are the times that we draw closest to God. It's in those dark times, because when everything's good, a lot of times people become
Yeah.
complacent, or they get jaded when it comes down to it. And that's exactly what the Church of Laodicea was warned about in the Book of Revelation. They're lukewarm. They have need of nothing. They're comfortable. They got too comfortable, so they don't really pursue that relationship with God. Because if you get in a point in your life where you're just that comfortable and you have need of nothing, then that's when man grows arrogant and becomes hubristic and thinks that he could do everything on his own. He doesn't need help. He can do it all on his own. And that's where, secular humanist thought and stuff comes from, is this kind of thing, this humanism, this man is God thought. So it's this kind of thing that, we have to be careful with.
Well,
So
at the
I mean, we could be grateful, and we could be well blessed, and be grateful and still carry on our relationship with God. But we don't want to get to that place where we're just so comfortable we think we don't need God anymore, because that's where that could lead. And everybody goes through these dark times, and oftentimes the darkest times are the time right before you're going to come to a breakthrough in your life, and things are going to change dramatically for the better.
yeah, and like as you were saying, when you first started right after the Psalm 89, right? You said almost exactly the way I've heard it. Heard it directly from Dad, right? Is that in order for him to use someone greatly, he must break them deeply, right? And again, this has so much to do with our pride. The more we know, the more we think we know. And the truth is, the more we know, the less we really understand,
That's right.
right? And
The only true wisdom consists in knowing that you know nothing.
no, yeah, exactly. The beginning of wisdom is, I don't know. And this has been certainly my experience and my observation is that everyone that I have seen that has a really tight walk with Dad has endured almost in some ways unthinkable pain. Is that necessary? It seems to be, but I never see Dad do it. But I do see that he walks through you with it, and ultimately, what comes of it is a strength of character that is simply not found in people who have not endured hardship. So again, I don't know exactly how it works or why, but I know what I see, and I know that he has promised that we would face trials, and we would have tribulations in this life. In this life, you will have trouble, right? And
Absolutely.
he never said that you would not, but in fact, he promised you would. But he did say he would never forsake you or abandon you, and that he would be here with you. And I have also found that to be true, absolutely. That he's never let me alone, never let me down. There's only one of us in this relationship that's perfect, and it's not me. It's a little frustrating.
Yeah, man. Just another important side note that kind of goes with this whole thought process here. Um, and this is something people could take as a bit of a truth. Greatness never happens in your comfort zone. Just remember that, everyone. You're always asked, the Lord always asks you to take a step out of your comfort zone to accomplish something great for Him. So great things never happen in your comfort zone. And sometimes it's really hard for us to step out of our comfort zone. And once again, this falls back to the whole issue of us when we get to a place in life where we're too comfortable or too complacent with things. Where we have need of nothing, like we discussed earlier, where we get to that point where we don't ever want to leave that comfort zone, and therefore we never truly accomplish anything great or even good. So you got
Yeah.
to remember that
And I was,
greatness never happens in your comfort zone.
yeah, and I wasn't even, myself intending for great. I mean, I'd love to do that. I just wanted to get through it. But
Yeah,
it's a,
man. I don't know. I never. I strive for mediocrity. That's
right. Yeah.
actually.
So just, yeah, to hit the solid middle. No, but I do the more that I see, that I worship a great dad, and through him everything is possible. And so I don't put anything outside the realm of possibility. Just whatever he wants me to do, and I'll be there. Right? I've learned to say, as did some of the guys in the Old Testament, "Here am I." Right? Send me. I'm good with that. Just I want to see this thing get over with, and I want to see it done well. So whatever you've got for me to do, if it's do a podcast, or if it's do something, whatever it is, I'll do it, because I'm so grateful for for the changes that he's made in my life, and for giving my life purpose and meaning. Without it, I cannot imagine where I would be, because again, had I been fully invested in this world, and to see what has become of it, I would be very pissed indeed, having put in so much effort into investing in what this world has to offer, only to see it taken away. I'd be kind of irritated. And what instead I've invested in is things that can never be taken. And it seemed for quite some time like maybe it was a poor investment, because you're not getting ahead in the world around you, and people step on you over and over. But now, when you see the economy changing from an economy of fiat currency to economy of spiritual truth, this is the time when it's more important to have spiritual truth, and the other stuff doesn't matter. So, because he's never let me down. He's never let me go hungry. It's been scary, a lot, real scary. But he's never let us out of his hand. And so whatever comes next, I can imagine that it will be very difficult for a number of people who, as you say, are very comfortable. And that's what they strive for, is comfort. And if that is what you're looking for, is to be comfortable, I think you're going to be very disappointed in the coming years indeed. But if what you're looking for is spiritual breakthrough, and to have the veil lifted in such a way that you can be closer to your Creator, I think that you will get what you ask for there. It's not going to be easy, but it is simple. It's straightforward. So I encourage you in that, and I would like to thank again everybody for being here. Wayne, thank you so much for joining me this evening. It's always a pleasure to have you with me, my friend.
Always a pleasure to be here. You hit the nail right on the head there. This is what it's about, man. At the end of the day, how much money you had in life, all that stuff, doesn't matter a hill of beans. And it's like we discussed earlier. It's just the relationships that you carry forward, the relationships you had with people, your relationship you have with God. That's all that matters in the end. And right now, I wouldn't trade, this journey for all of the wealth and worldly things that there are.
Absolutely.
All of that is going to amount to nothing in the very near future when you see how things are. A lot of people's lifestyles have been affected in very big ways already, and it's only going to get more dramatic as we go on. But as long as you stick close to the things that truly matter, your right relationship and standing with God, keeping the relationships with people in a good place, and just keeping your priorities straight and your eyes focused on more spiritual things, you'll be fine. God's not going to leave or forsake us. He's given us that promise. I've never seen him forsake me at all in my life. He's always carried me through one way or another, come hell or high water.
Yeah.
So I have that faith that he's going to see us through this thing, no matter what the outcome is, or which direction this thing goes in the near future. But I'm just going to keep doing what he called me to do. I'm going to keep talking, keep running my mouth, keep flapping my gums, keep writing books, keep on talking on, the internet, and, try and help people to realize, this absolute state of deception that we're living in. We're living in the age of deception, no doubt. And the more people are aware of that, the more they could try and redirect their moral compass to the right place. And that's all I could hope for. So that's why I'm going to keep on trucking on. Always a pleasure to be here, my friend. I love having these conversations
Me
with
too.
you.
It's always great. Thanks again, and I will see you, if not before, we'll see you next Wednesday on Secrets of Saturn Live. And that's always a good time, and I think we've got some good suggestions for this coming week as well. I'm going to go ahead and drop the call now, Wayne, as I say goodnight to the folks. And thanks again, Wayne. I really appreciate it.
Thanks.
It's always great to have you here. All right, guys. With that, we're going to say good evening, and I'll be back on Tuesday with Rose 777 at Rose 777 2.0 for the Poppycock Report, as we do. And I'll leave you tonight with this one. This will be about 1993, something like that. I wrote with Joe Ray. It's called More Than I've Ever Seen. And so hope that you enjoyed this on the way out. Thanks for coming, guys, and we'll have more conversations again soon, I'm sure. Have a great night.
darkness on every